Khabib came out. He was weighing in on Tony Ferguson. And Khabib said he should retire. And Khabib wasn't rude about it at all. Very matter of fact. Said, look, Tony's 37 years old and he hasn't won a fight in a period of time and time to move on. Kevin Lee came out. He was talking about Tony. And he said, I don't even want a rematch with Tony because it would be so lopsided. It's not even interesting to me. So here's my question to you guys. Are they right or is that rude? Now, it's certainly we can all agree it wasn't designed to be nice. It wasn't designed to make a guy feel good. But are they right? And that is a little bit of a tougher question. Because Tony's slowdown, if that's what we're going to call it, was overnight. It was absolutely overnight. He's getting ready for UFC 246. He gets put in a pandemic. Everything gets weird. You guys remember that. He ends up making weight on the date he was supposed to fight Khabib. Then he has to weigh in 2 weeks later for the actual fight with Gaethje. He's a big favorite. He's just supposed to go out there, take care of business. Gaethje's gone. In all fairness, Gaethje agreed with that. Gaethje thought this is how this is going to go. Gaethje didn't have a ton of time for that fight. It was a cash grab. He's got his built-in excuse. He's going to make a pile full of money. Right? You get taken care of if you do a short notice fight. That's a favor. You're not likely to win. He did the favor. He's going to get a big paycheck. I only share that with you because if Gaethje told you anything different, like I knew I was going to win the whole time and I was completely confident, he's mistelling the way that happened. He got brought in. Gaethje's a competitor. He wasn't scared to do it. But there was nobody more surprised that night at how one-sided that fight was, particularly in the stand-up realm, than Justin Gaethje. Great. It's what dreams are made of. But his dream was made, and it was of that. Share that with you because many of us were able to chalk that up to whatever happened, but it was one bad night, which everybody has. We just never seen one from Tony. Tony was so consistent, we'd never seen one like that. Moreover, the fact of how vicious and brutal that fight was from stand-up. That was another very big surprise, but that also, because of the surprise, added to the narrative that we all wanted to believe, which was, it was a bad night. You add that in with the fact that there's a pandemic going on, that he's bounced around and what the training was, that he decided to make weight 2 weeks before. Boom. Throw that one out. Let's bring Tony back in. So we see the Charles Oliveira fight, and ultimately it's the Benny Dariush fight. Now, there was some consistencies, even though those fights were different. The one with Gaethje was purely stand-up. The next two, the 6 rounds, right? Charles and Benny both went all 3. The next 6 rounds of Tony's career was all grappling. Tony was on bottom. He wasn't able to find submissions. He's on bottom. Now, but here's my question. I'm laying out for you what happened. I'm just stating what happened as a reminder to ask this question. Is this strategic? Is there something within the strategy of Tony Ferguson that would change the outcomes? And a lot of times when you're losing decisions, you don't have to redo everything. You just have to make something to make those people decide something different, right? Decision is just that. They interpreted and were influenced. How do I make them reinterpret and influence them to come to my direction, which sometimes can be done with strategy. Now, Tony spent a lot of times on bottom. I think in Charles Oliveira, most specifically, Charles turned out to be a damn good wrestler, and none of us knew that was going to happen. In all fairness, the same way that Gaethje was surprised, I argue, that he got the best of Tony in the striking, I think Tony was surprised that Oliveira was able to take him down. I know as a viewer, I was. Maybe I didn't give enough credit to Oliveira, but the way he stalked and backed him into the fence and shot those double legs, it was beautiful. He did a great job. Still leaves me with the same question of, is there something that can change, right, with Tony, with his approach, that would reasonably get us a different result, particularly at the age of 37, which was what Khabib brought in? Because as much as we can clearly identify that Tony lost those fights, no disagreement, we have to also concede there was some good things he did in those fights. Tony Ferguson never backed down once. Tony Ferguson never got knocked down once. Tony Ferguson never got tired and gave up once. Tony Ferguson didn't lack the ability to mount an offense once. I mean, he came out there like a true fighter and showed some grit and some heart, and he went out and fought great. That's the hard stuff to do. You can teach somebody how to do a double, how to finish a double. You can teach them to shrimp. You can teach them to get up off the bottom. You can't teach them that, and Tony still got it. So what is the problem? Why are these fights changing? I haven't fully identified it myself. I think that Tony has a little touch of the Kevin Holland in him, at least in those last two fights, which was he cooperated with allowing them go to the ground. He believed, and this is Tony in this case, between the rubber guard and the elbows that he could do more damage on the ground. I think he cooperated. I don't think Tony is that easy to take down, and I don't think Tony had to be taken down. I think he allowed himself to be taken down. Is it enough to sway it? Moving forward, what is it that he can do different? That's all I'm asking. Does he need a different camp? Does he need somebody different to train with? I don't know that I see that. When an athlete shows up hungry and gritty, and when an athlete is in perfectly good shape, I would say the people that he's around have done their job. Is it just a skill level? Is Tony now physically weaker than he used to be? That comes with age. Is he noticeably slower than he used to be? That comes with age. I didn't see that. I didn't see it. Saw him in there with some damn good fighters. If they were more competitive, even if he had lost all three of them, I don't think we're having this back and forth. They weren't overly competitive, but he was still in there with some damn good fighters. I mean, of those three guys that I just named, Dariush, Gaethje, and Oliveira, two of them have been champions within the last calendar year. I mean, are you aware of that? You want to sit around and give Tony a hard time? He lost to Gaethje, who became champion that night. He lost to Oliveira, who became champion his next night. He lost to Dariush, who's won his last 8 contests. And how do we really know where Tony stacks up? And I'll just bring myself into this real fast, but I had a fight. I changed weight classes, went up to 205 pounds. And at the very end of the show, they're recapping the night. And at the very end of the show, I remember Joe Rogan was the last one before they signed off. And Joe said, Chael Sonnen proved tonight he cannot go with the elite of the division. And I remember seeing that and going, I can't let that in. I cannot let that statement affect me. I proved tonight I can't go with the elite of the division. I proved I couldn't go with that guy tonight. There's a vastly different statement. That guy beat me, for sure, tonight. You don't think I'm going to learn from that? You don't think that's going to make me hungry and motivated? You don't think I'm going to come back better? You don't think I have the right to adapt and adjust to a new weight class? I fought 13 world champions, including that guy. I fought 4 after that guy and beat 3 of them at the same weight class. This isn't to shine Chael's wheels, but I am telling you, to personalize this, there's things that you learn even in defeat where you get better. There's adjustments that you can make strategically that can change outcomes and decisions. So the number one thing that Tony needs to do right now is not listen to this other noise. Those are competitors within the division that are self-serving. They're not looking out for you. They're not part of your team. Okay, great. We all understand that. But then Tony does need to have a good hard look the man in the mirror and have a conversation. What am I going to do different? I don't think Tony's slow, and I know he still works hard. He's in damn good shape. There's been times where he's cooperated, in my opinion. And there's another side where he has stacked the deck against himself, or he has had it stacked against him in the level of competition he has to take on. Of his last 3 opponents, 2 of them are world champions. I mean, in all fairness, give Tony some due here. Give him a little credit for going out there in the first place. Give him a little respect. Because you're not going to get your way. He's not going to stop. So you want to be a dick about it and tell him he can't do it, or you want to encourage a guy and try to elevate him a little bit? I know what camp I'm in. I want to encourage Tony Ferguson.